Well, hope. It's one word that can be very powerful, and that's what was given to victims of human trafficking earlier this week after multiple agencies teamed up for an operation. News Channel 7's Jude Binkley spoke to one organization that works to help these victims. Jude.
Well, sure, multiple law enforcement agencies and community partners come together to form the Valley Human Trafficking Taskforce. Their goal is to fight human trafficking in Idaho. On Thursday, they did a victim-centered operation where they were able to provide clothing, food, housing, and hope to 6 victims.
If one female shows up and we're able to love her and wrap around her, we win. It's success, right? Because that's one person that has hope. And that's the number one thing that these women are telling me is we never had any hope. We've never had any hope. So that was our goal.
It was that goal that brought together law enforcement and community partners like nonprofit Idaho Cobbs to form Thursday's human trafficking operation. The operation was victim-centered, designed to help victims of trafficking.
You know, they've been labeled as prostitutes their whole entire life, and they don't understand the difference between prostitution and human trafficking. And there is a very big difference.
The sting operation was set up at a hotel. Decoys were put in place to pretend to solicit the victims. When the women showed up, they were provided care and safety.
So we were able to make contact with 6 women, which is huge. And out of those 6 women, we were able to provide clothing, housing, food, any kind of essentials.
Idaho Cobbs works with law enforcement for training. They also act as a third party since many victims come from traumatic backgrounds.
What we do is we're building that relationship. We're rebuilding the relationship between law enforcement and these victims of trafficking so that they know that they can trust them.
Human trafficking is a problem in every state. Paula says most of the victims they see are Idahoans. She says the biggest source of trafficking here is familial.
This could happen to anybody. It happens to people that are high up on the socioeconomic level that don't need the money, but because of different situations that are happening there, they're pulled into the life.
And after Thursday's sting, now 6 people have a new glimmer of hope.
Sometimes the very first hope that they've ever had in their life. If something doesn't look right, if something looks off that you're recognizing, if a female is very young and she's with an older man, or there's just some other stuff happening that you see, the clothing, they're not fed, please call any of the police departments, the non-emergency numbers, because we have people on all the different police departments that are beginning to specialize in trafficking.
Paula says between law enforcement and all the partners, it really took an army to pull off this operation. It had been in the works since February. But even outside of that, she told me that Idaho Cobbs gets in contact with 2 to 4 victims of trafficking every single week.
Wow, 2 to 4 victims. You know, I think a lot of people hear about this happening across the country, but you don't necessarily think about it happening here at home in our own backyard. All right, thanks, Jude, for sharing that with us.